This is going to be a test of history here, because historically you are correct. You have to be about a top 10 or 11 defensive team to be an NBA champion. The record speaks for itself. But we are playing in a season where we are seeing historically off-the-charts offense. 7 or 8 of the top 10 offensive seasons by team in NBA history are happening right now. I scan the box scores every single night, guys, and every single night there are teams that are shooting 53, 54% and losing. There are some teams whose records, when they shoot 50% or better, are around 500. In the past, you shot 50% in a game. That means you're almost going to win probably 85% of the time. And so the question is, when we get to the postseason, when we know you can prepare, some of these teams have had single-digit practices for the entire season to this point, since the year started. When in the postseason you can actually practice and game plan in between games, will we see a return to normalcy? The Lakers better hope so, because I don't think the Lakers offensively, which is what their weakness is, you're right, their defense is spectacular, but they can't bring it every night offensively. I don't think they can do it 4 out of 7 times. So they're going to have to hope that things return to what we normally see in the postseason, because if they don't, this is set for the Nets to win it.
So, Windy, let's talk about the offensive power of the Nets. It's off the charts, but are you at all concerned about the chemistry between the big three? Because as we know, they've only played 7 games together this season so far.
The only chemistry I'm worried about is Kyrie and James Harden. I'm not worried about Kevin Durant at all. He has shown repeatedly that he can play with different lineups in different roles. Durant is one of the most malleable superstars I've ever seen. LeBron, because of all the guys he can defend, maybe a little bit more, but Durant can be so many different things to so many different teammates. I'm not worried about him at all. And I think their other guys, their older guys, are there knowing they're playing a role. The whole thing has been, can Harden and Kyrie coexist together, sharing the ball? And right out of the gates, I think Kyrie yielded to Harden. I think it was like the second or third week they were playing together, Kyrie said, James, you take the ball, you run our offense, I'll play off the ball, which was no small thing for him to say, even though that makes sense, because you look at the way Harden was playing, you say, heck yeah, this guy's an MVP as a point guard. Kyrie left LeBron James because he didn't want to play that way. And so as soon as I saw that, now granted, it's tenuous because Kyrie tends to change his opinion and mood on things at times. But once I saw that, I said, look out for these Nets. And Kyrie and Harden do have quite a bit of time together so far.
I actually think that a lot of people are worried about something, that relationship, Kyrie Irving and James Harden, when they need not to be, because obviously these guys have unique personas that sort of make them polarizing figures. James Harden, with how he plays the game, well, he settled that by, taking a backseat and figuring out whatever role this team, the Brooklyn Nets, needs to win. Kyrie Irving, maybe for things not necessarily tied to the basketball court, but anytime something needs to get done, they find a way. Kyrie Irving, I think at the start of the season, it was clear that he wanted to be the guy, that this was his team. And we saw it through his performances. The thing that actually stood out to me the most, Brian, is actually when James Harden goes out because of the hamstring, what does Kyrie do to respond? Drops 40 points and knows to flip the switch and take over. These guys have each other's backs in a way that we don't really acknowledge all the time in the media. And I think that's what makes them special, sort of the chip on the shoulder mentality that each and every one of them carry. So I'm not necessarily worried about, the personalities meshing. I think health, number one, first and foremost, will be the only thing that deters this team from a title.
Yeah, Chiney, I think you're absolutely right, because according to BPI, with the healthy big three, the Nets have a 22% chance to win the title. The only team with better odds as of this point are the Jazz with 24.5%.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.